Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing my 9th wrap-up of the year. I'm going to be talking about books number 41 through 45 that I've read. I actually didn't realize once again how many book reviews I am behind on, so I'm hoping to film a couple today and get them out to you so that you can see what I've been reading, because even though I've been busy, I have been reading a bit. Here we go. So the first book that I have to talk about is 9 Days and 9 Nights by Katie Cotugno, which I read before its release, so that means that it was back in May and it's now July, and that is how horribly behind I am on reviews. So sorry about that. This book is actually a continuation of 99 Days by Katie Cotugno. I really loved that book, and this follows Molly as she goes on a summer vacation around Europe with her new boyfriend Ian, and she spent the past year of her life trying to be someone very different than she was in 99 Days, and you can see how much her character has changed, but also she still does have some ties to the original way that she was. While she is there, she runs into her ex-boyfriend Gabe and his new girlfriend because they are also on a summer trip going around Europe. Obviously, Molly's having a lot of feelings about that because her and Gabe didn't end things in the best way and she never really got any closure, but it's also really awkward having to spend time with your ex-boyfriend while you're with your new boyfriend and he's with his new girlfriend. Part of why I loved this book so much is because it was a travel book, so it was really interesting to see all of the sights that they were seeing as they were gallivanting around Europe. But the funny thing is that this book actually made me want to visit Boston more than anywhere else. I just felt like the way that Katie wrote about Boston, which is where Molly went to college, was just so enjoyable, and I've always wanted to go there anyway, so it just got me even more excited to potentially visit in the future. From page 13, I really loved Molly's new boyfriend. His name is Ian and he works in a library and he's a D&D DM. And he was just so sweet and so kind, so I just immediately really liked him, and I was so nervous about where everything was going to go. But fortunately, I was so pleased with the way that the story wrapped up and the way that everything kind of came apart and together in the end. I think it was all done very well. Katie is absolutely known for writing her messy contemporaries, and this was no exception. I truly loved it. I think it's actually my 3rd favorite book of hers so far. 99 Days and How to Love are my 2 top favorites. Actually, How to Love is my favorite, and this one was definitely just so enjoyable. I just read it so quick and I just really truly loved it, as I expected to, because I tend to love all of her books. So I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas, and I read this book the day that it came out, which was May 1st, I think. This is the bridge novella that takes place between the first ACOTAR trilogy and the next trilogy that will be set within the same world. It set up what would be coming, but that is a bit of a stretch because this entire novella, pretty short. It's just over 200 pages. I want to say it's 220 pages. Well, it was really fun to see some of the aftermath of everything that went on in ACOWAR and just see some of the characters finally getting to be happy. That was really enjoyable. And don't get me wrong, I totally enjoyed this novella. It just wasn't something that was super necessary. Really, the only bridge that you got was the thing that came afterwards. So after this novella wrapped up, there's an epilogue with some extra content, and that is where the bridge part comes in. Again, I really liked it. There were some things that were a little bit strange and out of character, Feyre was wearing Uggs, but I still, overall, I just enjoy the world, I enjoy the characters, so I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to Court of Thorns and Roses novels. It was definitely a lot of fan service, I will tell you that. And there really was not much of a plot in this novel either. Again, besides that one extra sneak peek that you get after the novella wraps up. So basically it got me excited for what is to come, and while I did enjoy it, it definitely doesn't hold the same kind of place in my heart as a lot of the other ACOTAR novels do. So I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. The next book that I read is Snow and Rose by Emily Winfield Martin, and this is a middle grade novel and it's a retelling of Snow White and Rose Red. I really enjoyed it. I think that this book had such beautiful illustrations that really is what drew me in to begin with. First of all, just look at this cover. It is so so gorgeous, and I know that I've like showed this plenty of times, but I just really and truly loved it. So like here's the title page within the book, those are the chapter headers, and there are just really gorgeous illustrations throughout. So I love fairy tales too, and this is the story of two sisters who are in the woods. They've lost their father and they're living with their mother, and there are some strange things that have been happening within the woods. They meet some different characters along the way as they're trying to figure out some kind of mystery that seems to be unraveling within the forest. This book particularly was full of whimsy, and it was just written with such a lush style that I devoured it pretty much. I particularly loved the scenes that take place in the woods, and I really loved the contrasting personalities between Snow White and Rose Red. Thought it was a really great retelling. I would definitely recommend it. I really enjoyed it, and again, the illustrations just had me loving it before I even started reading it, and I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. Next, I read The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Gu. This is a novel about a girl named Clara, and she has to work at her father's Brazilian Korean food truck over the summer. She is not a very serious person. She's constantly pulling pranks and getting into trouble, but she has a good heart, and one of her pranks goes a little bit too far, and then as retribution for what she's done, her and this girl Rose, who she cannot stand, they're pretty much like mortal enemies, they both get stuck working at her father's food truck over the summer, and Clara is not able to see her little band of mischievous friends, and she's really upset that she's gonna be stuck there with Rose. She also has a trip planned to visit her mother, who is an Instagram influencer and is vacationing, and Clara has a plan to go and see her, but her father will no longer let her go because it's part of her punishment to be working for the full summer. I have to say that Clara was such a sassy narrator, and I really, really loved her. All of the shenanigans that she would get into were just like so ridiculous, but so funny. What I definitely liked most was the unlikely friendship that formed between Clara and Rose once the two of them were stuck in close proximity together and had to work with one another. I think that some of Rose's best qualities started kind of rubbing off on Clara and vice versa, and I just really liked the way that the two of them got along. And I absolutely adored Hamlet, who is the love interest in this book. He is a boy that works at another food truck in the area where Clara is, and she meets him on her first day of work, and the two of them just kind of start this little adorable romance, and Hamlet is just so cute, and he's so different from Clara and so different from anyone that she's ever dated in the past, and he's actually like someone that could be a serious boyfriend for her, and oh my god, it was just so swoon-worthy. I also really loved Clara's dad. He is much younger than all of the other dads. He's only in his 30s, and he is like a cool, fun dad, but he is also wanting to make sure that Clara is on the right track and that he's not being kind of too loose in the parenting department. And I just love their relationship, the way that they get along. I thought that was super adorable. Like, everything about this book was just so cute. If you're looking for a contemporary, I definitely recommend this one, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I'm going to be talking about today is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. So this one I also read right when it was released, and I had been so looking forward to it because I absolutely love Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I also love The Outside of Unrequited. Like, both of those books were just such perfect 5-star reads to me. So I really thought that Leah was going to be the same thing, but I didn't love it as much as the other ones. I definitely did enjoy it because I enjoy Becky's writing style, and I also just enjoyed seeing some more of the characters, but there were some changes within it that, like, I really didn't like the direction it kind of took. There was one character whose whole personality is kind of changed, and now there were like extra things that were added to make you see some of the past events differently, which I didn't love. I still liked it even though I was disappointed by it, if that makes sense. I really liked the idea of the relationship that was in Leah, but I just wish that it would have been with someone else or just done a little bit differently. I felt like it didn't really start developing until a lot further into the novel than I was anticipating, and then you didn't really get to see the two of them together very much. So I think what I actually liked most about this book was getting to see Simon and his love interest and where they've gone since the end of Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. But it had a really fun prom night. It was very cliched, but very cute. And again, I enjoyed it even though I didn't love it the same way that I love Becky's other books. So I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. So those are all the books that I have to talk about for this video. Let me know if you read any of the ones that I've discussed or if you have any similar or differing feelings from me, and I will see you guys soon in a new video. Bye!